It's time for a new evolution in raising golfers, one that doesn't involve headaches, tears, or heading down the path of unknown. Whether you're trying to introduce children to the game of golf, help them play competitively, or play at a collegiate level, you're in the right place. This show is for any parent, player, or coach who wants to build a better team at home and on the golf course. This is the Raising Golfers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Raising Golfers Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Hauser, PGA professional here in Carlsbad, California. It's been another active, fun week. We had a really cool Easter egg hunt that we hosted at Rancho Carlsbad Golf Course. We had 30 children. The whole event was sold out, and we had some of our active members come out and participate. We also had some people that had never even played golf or been to the golf course before, but they absolutely loved it, and I think we might be able to see them out there again. Maybe swinging the club, hopefully sometime soon. In today's episode, I'm going to do this a little bit differently than normal. I've actually got a book in my hands here, and this was a book that was given to me right after I became a father and my youngest son was born, and it was given to me from a good friend of mine, and he's also a fantastic golf coach out in Shanghai, China. His name is Andy Griffiths. Andy, thank you so much for this book. It's called Dad's Playbook, and I think we could use this just even for any parent or coach as well, but it says Wisdom for Fathers from the Greatest Coaches of All Time. And the author of this is from Tom Limbert. So it's interesting, if you just look at the back of the book, the first thing it says is, you can change to coaches, dads, parents, moms, but it says, dads, do what the best coaches do. They motivate, mentor, discipline, and love. And so in one section of the book, which I find is really cool, this one's called Lead and Inspire. And basically just a bunch of quotes. Let's say it. There's a few cool pictures in the book, and I'll definitely share in the show notes what this book is. Highly recommend it. It's very motivating to go back and reflect on. But in this one, I'm just going to go over a couple things and then talk to you about how it can relate to golf. So this quote here is from Tommy Lasorda, and it says, "Managing is like holding a dove in your hand. Squeeze too hard and you kill it. Not hard enough and it flies away." And the way I can interpret this with the game of golf is squeezing too hard. I think we can sometimes push our junior golfers too hard, and really at some point, even though it seems like we are helping their progression and their development in the game, that eventually it gets to the point where it's not fun for them and they just give up and they don't want to play anymore. And so I've talked about this, I think, with parenting or coaching. Any junior golfer or any children in any sports really is a very delicate art. So this quote really is in line with that, because, it's tough to know, okay, so how far do I go? How much do I push them? How much do I try to hold them accountable for things? What things do I let slip through? It's not easy, right? And so then it says, not hard enough and it flies away. So that could also be the same thing. It's like, well, geez, if I'm not holding them accountable to some of the goals, the practice they want to put in, well, maybe their skills actually start to fall off, or maybe they find it boring and they decide also to walk away from the sport. So it's very difficult. And, I think you parents are doing a good job, and coaches, you're doing a good job as well. I think it's just one of those things we have to look back on and sometimes just analyze and reflect on a regular basis on how we are doing. And now let's hear a message from our show sponsor. Hey guys, this last spring I teamed up with Operation 36 here at our facility in Carlsbad, California, and it has completely changed my way of coaching and service to my customers. Operation 36 is a developmental golf program designed to take beginners from playing their first round to being able to shoot par or better for 9 holes. So here's how it works. Participants attend weekly 1-hour classes and work through a 6-level curriculum. They then play in 9-hole events once or twice a month with a common goal to shoot 36 or better from different distances. And using the Operation 36 app, coaches can plan programs, communicate with families, and track students' progress. It's really, really cool. If you're a parent listening, search for a program near you on their website at operation36.golf/juniors. And coaches, if you'd like to start a program at your facility, go to the same website, operation36.golf/coaches. Now, the next one I want to talk to you about is from a very famous basketball coach, John Wooden from UCLA. And this one's short, and he said, "Young people need models, not critics." And in golf, it's very interesting because, if you come for an individual golf lesson, a lot of times what can happen, and certainly I've been guilty of it too, I try to do my best, but what can happen is we critique you on the things that you're doing wrong. And so it's basically constantly going in on what you're doing wrong. I personally try to rephrase this as best as possible and say, okay, so this is what we can do. You're already doing these things great. Now let's try this. And sometimes it just has to do with the verbiage. But I think young people really do need models. And, as golf coaches in the group setting or individual setting, I think the more we can stay positive with the junior golfers, the better. We had an all on-course golf class, which we have weekly now. It's awesome. It's going really, really well. And I was speaking with our assistant golf coach, and I told him, I said, hey, let's think of 2 things that they did really well, and let's just keep the feedback for today very positive. And I think anybody that was out there, they could probably write a list of things that they saw that were negative. But, if you think about what's the point, we want to motivate them. We want to keep them encouraged. And we want to show them as well that being positive can go a long ways. And so we have to do our best of that, whether we're parents or golf coaches with the junior golfers. Now, the next one, this one I find very important, and this will help with any sport really. And this is from Newt Rockton. And the quote here is, "One man practicing sportsmanship is far better than 50 preaching it." And sportsmanship at our junior golf academy is extremely important. In fact, 4 of the traits that we're looking for our junior of the month, one of them is sportsmanship. And really, none of them are about performance on the golf course or performance in their golf game. It's more about hard work, effort, positive attitude, and sportsmanship, of course. And I think it's just good to constantly remind students to show good sportsmanship. One thing I've realized recently is there's a new trend, and children like to say GG for good game. And I've come to actually not like that. And I tell the students, I say, we got to say the whole word out. And I think that actually has more meaning and more heart behind it if you're going to say good game to somebody or good try. All right. And the last one here is from Don Shula. And the quote here is, "My responsibility is leadership. And the minute I get negative, that is going to have an influence on my team." I think that's so true for all of us involved with the junior golfer. And I think as soon as we do get negative, it can really spiral down in the wrong direction. So, a good tip for me is just try to stay as positive as possible, laugh some of the things off. At the end of the day, the junior golfer isn't trying to make mistakes. They're trying to do their best. They're trying to give it their best effort. And I think staying positive is just such a good asset for everybody that is around you. I think this book is gold. I do highly recommend it for anybody. Again, it's called Dad's Playbook. And I just think there's so many good things in there to help us kind of reflect on, think about. And it's not just about sports. It's just about the quotes that we can actually think of as parents as well, and things that we can implement into our parenting. And it's just really fun. It's a great book to read. And there's a bunch of chapters that are in there with all kinds of different information. But I thought it was just interesting how all of those we can kind of reflect back onto how we are raising golfers and how we have such an impact. And we need to lead and inspire our junior golfers. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode and look forward to having you here back next week on the podcast.